Today, technical session number 29. As we keep talking about it, we do jump around quite a bit just because we want to match up the material and, make sure that we're kind of getting as much crossover or cross-pollination as we can. So today we're going to be going over mobile device synchronization. Our objectives throughout this particular technical session is to describe the purpose and value of synchronizing data between mobile devices, desktops, or laptops. Identify the types of data that could be synchronized with these processes. That is important to know. You should be able to identify what is and is not synchronized when you are syncing up your devices with your computers. What are the two main methods that are used? Describe the connection types available to enable this synchronization and name the steps to syncing data between mobile devices and laptops or desktops. Also, identify common pitfalls when synchronizing data between mobile devices and laptops and desktops as well. BSMs, we want to keep in mind while working through this technical session, customer focus. Again, customers are the reason we are here. They are not happy, then we won't be here very long. And yes, there is a case where you can solve the problem and they can walk away unhappy because of the way they have been treated. So, and there are also cases where they can feel very satisfied with the service you have provided, even though you were not able to solve their problem. So a lot of that comes down with your interactions with the customer themselves. Also, we want to try to maintain future orientation, understanding that the actions we make today, the work we put in today is going to pay off for us in the future. Success comes not from what we do occasionally, but what we do consistently. If we are consistently working towards that goal, we will then realize that goal. All right, overview of synchronization. Smartphones, tablets, phones, or what have you, we can sync these devices up with our local PCs, with the clouds, laptops, all that fun stuff so that we can share data across all of these platforms. It was a wonderful technology when it came about. It allowed us to be able to back up data in more than one location, important files, photographs. At one point, if your phone crashed, you could lose years of photographs of your family and your friends and stuff like that, and it was unrecoverable. Now, we can very easily sync this stuff up and archive that data so that it is protected over time. It allows you to easily set up new devices. If your phone's getting a little long in the tooth, and you want to go ahead and upgrade to that new fancy fangled, super high-tech device that's come out in the last few weeks, you can easily do that through synchronization. You don't have to rebuild all that stuff from scratch anymore. It allows us to download updates and patches on the spot and enable greater security with our device and greater functionality. Now, mobile devices tend to sync a little bit differently depending on the vendor and software you're using. Android is a little bit different than iOS, as well as Windows phones are a little bit different from the other two. All right. In order for synchronization to be able to take place, it needs to have mutual authentication. It needs to be able to verify that both systems are authorized for this data, which is why when you hook your phone up to your computer, it will say, do you trust this computer? Click yes. You might have to enter your passcode on your phone. And then on the computer, it'll say, do you trust this phone or this mobile device? You have to authenticate it there. That way, both devices know that they're allowed to talk to each other. So they are mutually authenticating each other's credentials at this point. One second. All right. Main purpose of this adds additional security to you. Your contact information could be banking information, all sorts of stuff. That makes this process significantly more secure. So somebody can't just grab your phone, dock it, and get all your information. Both Android and iOS support this type of authentication, typically using SSL or secure sockets layer. One of the challenges that is presented with this is the phones themselves don't really have like the massive amount of processing power that computers do. They are very much stripped down versions of operating systems in order to be able to function on these smaller devices. They are getting better with each generation, but we're still not quite there yet. Windows tried to marry that up when they did Windows 8. And they basically tried to make it so it was the same operating system on the phone as on the computer. And unfortunately, what you ended up having was a really stripped down operating system on a computer that nobody really liked. So that one didn't quite work out so well. Maybe in a couple generations of phones, that will change. All right, types of data that we synchronize when we are doing this with our phone. You have your contacts, programs, bookmarks, email pictures and documents, music, videos, your calendar, location data, social media data, as well as your ebooks. Now, it doesn't mean all of this is synchronized all the time. You can select or deselect the pieces of information you wish to share at any given time. So you can curtail this as much or as little as you choose. If you only want to sync, say, your documents, you can set it up to only sync documents. If you want to sync all of this stuff, that's great too. You can do that as well. So, contacts. Typically, this is using what's called push synchronization, which means there's no effort on your part when you hook this up. Any new contacts that you have is automatically pushed to your contacts on your computer, so long as that multi-authentication has occurred. It assures that any changes that have been made since the last time these two have communicated are then updated and brought into sync, so to speak. Applications, program data, if you're operating off of Excel on your phone, they do have a stripped down version of Excel on your phone, Word, and other things like that. Banking software, these things can be synced between the two systems so that if you run updates on these applications, say on your computer, when you hook up your phone, it's automatically going to apply those updates back down to your phone. Bookmarks for web surfing. You save something on your phone if you've been running around, but you want to watch, look at it on your computer because maybe it was a ton of data and you don't want to read it on your phone. It's more comfortable for you to read it on a tablet or a computer as such. You can sync your bookmarks as well. Any questions so far? All right. Next, email. Two ways we can synchronize email across multiple servers. One is through direct synchronization this way. The other way would be us using IMAP4. The IMAP4 allows you to synchronize across all servers. So if you delete something on your phone, it's automatically going to delete it on your computer, on the servers, all the way through. POP3, you would have to delete it on each individual device. So for archiving capabilities, POP3 is a little bit better, but just so you don't have to get frustrated with, having to delete emails in multiple places and all that kind of stuff, IMAP4 allows you to sync it across multiple systems. Pictures, we talked about this one just a little bit ago. Many people, for the most part, their phone is their camera. They hear it with them all the time. They're able to whip it out, take pictures of their kids if their kids are doing something cute or whatever, and be able to archive this stuff and save it. It's not just trapped on an individual device. You can now upload it to your computer, to the cloud, to your other mobile devices that you have if you're having cross sync with them. And that is a wonderful feature. It allows it so that, this stuff is saved and you don't have to worry about if something happens to your phone, you lose all of this, these pictures and data. All right. Documents. One big one that you can sync across all devices right now is the PDF version of your fun Cybex book. That would be a document that you could sync across all of your mobile devices. So you could have that with you if you wish to study, or if you happen to go on a trip for the weekend or something like that and don't want to carry a 20-pound book with you. That allows you to have a little bit more freedom with that if you wish. But any other documents, if you create spreadsheets, all kinds of stuff, you can sync this between mobile devices and computers, as well as saving them up in the cloud, or what have you. We will get into cloud synchronization, though, at a later date. Now, one of the biggest things and one of the most prominent things that you would see for synchronization was music, especially with the advent of iTunes. When that was first rising, it was very revolutionary. We had the iPods, the Zunes, and all the different MP3 players where, instead of just carrying around a big book full of CDs, now you could carry thousands of songs on an individual device, which made things so much easier for a lot of people. You didn't have to pick and choose which CDs you wanted to bring. You could bring them all. Videos, you could do movies, TV shows, what have you. As long as you have the memory to store it, you can synchronize it to your devices as such. The other big thing is calendar. You don't want to maintain multiple calendars because it's easy that you may forget something or not add this stuff. Now we can cross over personal and private calendars and kind of merge them into a single one on our personal computer, but it's not going to necessarily do it on our work phone or work computer. So we can have it individual or merged, however we so choose. But this allows us to keep up with all the dates that we need, all this fun stuff at a single point. And if we add something on our phone, it will add it across platforms. Yes, Umberto.
Yes, I don't understand why do we have to sync, for example, Gmail, to have the same thing in each device if Gmail is in the cloud. So why I would have to synchronize to my other devices if all of them are going to the same point, to the cloud?
Well, it depends on how it's set up. If it's set up on POP3, it's going for us to be able to read emails, we actually have to download it from the cloud onto our system. Now, POP3 requires us to download it to each individual system. IMAP will allow it to go to all devices, and then if I do something to that on one, it shares it across all of them. Does that make sense, Umberto?
Yes, thank you.
So yes, the archival storage and all that stuff is up in the cloud, but in order for us to read it and manipulate it, we do have to pull it down to be able to work with it. All right. Other types of data that is maintained. Location data. Some cases, apps track where you are. Have you ever downloaded, was it Cartwheel for Target? I think Walmart has their own app, Lowe's, all that fun stuff. And then you pull into the parking lot of that store and all of a sudden you get popped with a notification from that store. Congratulations, they're tracking you. That's how they know where you are. They even know where you are in the store. So if you're in the store and you're like, hey, where do I, let me see the store map. Where can I find the Cheetos? It'll say you're here, Cheetos are here, and tell you exactly where in the store you are and help you get to where you need to go. Many apps, especially with big box stores and stuff like that, track you because they want to know, hey, if you're going to the competitors, why are you going to the competitors? What things are you searching on the internet? So I can better provide stuff for you. So location data is a real big thing with applications. However, you do need to opt into that. Hey, can we track you? Can we send you notifications? You can opt out of that stuff if you don't want it. Social media data. That's another one that is tracking a lot of stuff you're doing. But it's also paying attention to, any updates you may have made on your Facebook or Twitter or any one of the social media accounts out there. Once you sync, it synchronizes that stuff across all your devices. So finally, we have ebooks for the big readers out there. Kindle, Nook, all that kind of stuff created their own e-readers and applications that can be downloaded onto phones rather than having unique separate devices for that. So they had to be able to synchronize this stuff across your accounts, because if I buy a book on my Kindle or something like that, and then I forgot my Kindle, but I still want to read that book, I can pull it up and it actually will synchronize what page I was on that book that I'm currently reading, so I can start right back up where I was. So it also synchronizes that information as well. It does it with movies and stuff too. So like if you're watching a movie on your phone, like if you have a movie downloaded, you know, on iTunes or what have you, you watch the movie, you get about halfway through that movie and you have to stop it. When you get back to your house and you go to hit play on that movie, it's going to say, hey, do you want to resume it from where you were? And it's already synced that data so that you can go right back to where you were. You don't have to like skip ahead and find it. It has already synced up this data for you. Questions so far? All right. Synchronization methods. Two main ones. You have wired and wireless. That's your basically your overall options. When you come into your house, you can link up to your Wi-Fi network and go ahead and sync that way through your network to your computers if you so choose. Some of them allow you to set up auto sync, so as soon as you walk into the house, it goes ahead and does it automatically. It'll sync up your, your tablet, your laptop, and your phones all together, so that they're all basically on the same page every time you enter into this network, or anytime something exits the network and then comes back in, it's going to sync back up with everything. Other way, if you don't particularly like that way, you can turn those off and you can use the old standard wired connections. Here you have the iOS where it shows the old school 30 pin and then the 8-pin lightning. You don't really see the 30 pins much anymore, but there are some still out there. The 8-pin lightning, but I think that is also moving up to the USB-C. And then you have the USB-B micro right here, which is for the Android and Windows phones. But again, that one is also moving up to the USB-C currently today. So that is kind of a separation between information for the exam versus real life. The exam was 4 or 5 years ago. USB-C has increased in popularity exponentially in the last few years. Questions so far? Obviously, wired connection requires a direct connection from the wire to the computer.
I think Janina has a question.
Yes, Janina.
You see how you said when you come in, all the devices, well, if you set up that way, sync.
Yes.
Does Wi-Fi, like, can you set up Wi-Fi to do that? Like when you coming in and out, like maybe your house or something like that? Does that also do that?
Well, that would be initiated on your device, not by your Wi-Fi. So what it is like if your device is already set up for wireless synchronization, whenever a device leaves the network and then comes back to that network, and the other devices now have communication with it, they're going to sync up and make sure they're good. So if you took 5 pictures while you're out, when you come back after just a couple minutes, those 5 pictures will be on your computer, your tablet, or what have you. So if you already have that enabled, it's going to take care of that whenever it's reintroduced to an environment where they can communicate again. All right. All right. When you're syncing to a desktop, you need to make sure that you have the appropriate memory available, or excuse me, storage available. See, even I get tripped up on that. The appropriate storage available on your systems to be able to handle the data you're going to be feeding to it. It also, you need to pay attention to the operating system you're working on, be it Mac or Windows. There is capability for cross-pollination where like an iPhone can sync to a Windows machine and an Android can sync to a Mac. You just need to have the appropriate applications downloaded to be able to do this. Memory, as far as RAM, relatively minimal requirements, thankfully. Operating system with Apple, at the time that this was written, it was iOS, but for some reason, Mac has like regressed into 5 or 6 different applications you have to deal with when you're syncing your data, whereas before it was a single application in iTunes. Android, it syncs online with Google, but it uses third-party apps to transfer the movies and music and stuff like that. So you kind of figure out which one best fits your style and you know, the functionality you want. Windows Phone, media synchronizes, but email and contacts and stuff are not. Now, you're syncing to the cloud, so long as you have appropriate storage in the cloud. This is pretty hands-off. It goes ahead and syncs up for you whenever you require it. The biggest component with that is, do you have the applicable storage space in the cloud to be able to hold the data you're trying to sync to it? I think Apple only gives, what, 15 gigs or maybe 10 for cloud storage. Google allots 20. And can anybody remember what Microsoft allots? Anybody have a Microsoft cloud? No, nobody? Man, they gotta work on their marketing. Avery, do you remember?
I'm trying to look into it right now.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think it might be 10.
Five gigabytes.
Never mind, I way overestimated them. 5 gigabytes. It used to be only 1 for Apple, but they've upped it since then. And then Google allowed 20. All right. Uh-oh. Internet. All right, Apple devices sync locally through iTunes for the purposes of according to the exam. They will sync to iTunes, although that is not the case now. They sync to multiple different applications currently, although you can also sync to the cloud. Their version of the cloud is called iCloud. You will need to know that. iTunes also runs on pretty much every Mac operating system and PC available, not so much with Linux. Again, they sync up all types of data: video, music, contacts, pictures, email, ebooks, all that fun stuff can be stored on the version of iTunes that was available at this time. It was a very simple one-stop shop. Plug it in and you could rip all your data down from there and segment it out, and then easily upload stuff that you want to put on the phones as well. All right. If you're syncing with iTunes, basically plug it in, make sure you have the latest version of iTunes, otherwise it's going to ask you to go ahead and update it. Once you've docked in, it's going to say, please, enter your passcode on your phone. Do you trust this computer? Yes, I trust this computer. And then you'll see the connected device up in the corner. You can see a picture of it right here. To let you know the phone is connected. You click on that icon and it will take you into the phone to show you what is already stored on that device. So after you've clicked on it, it'll give you a drop-down menu that'll let you go through and see the applications, music, documents, books, TV shows, movies, podcasts, all that fun stuff that's on there. Show you exactly how much storage you have available on your phone, and of the storage you are using, how much is being allotted to various types. They will give you a legend that will tell you, like, green is program data, orange or yellow is pictures, pink is movies, something along those lines. After that is done, you can select what applications and stuff you want to sync. If you want to remove stuff, you would deselect. If you want to add stuff, you would go ahead and select it, and then you would hit sync at that point. Once you have applied whatever change you have made, it will go ahead and run through a syncing cycle for your phone, updating all files that are relevant. Questions so far? Linux operates on standard PCs. It's just a matter, Linux is just the operating system you're putting on top of it. They also, Android is a Linux-based operating system, if you were not aware of that. All right, iOS synchronization using the cloud. Make sure you're connected to the Wi-Fi. It does not like you doing this over cellular because it does take up a lot of data depending on what you're transferring. Obviously, go to your settings, set up cloud, backup, and at that point, that is iOS 7 or earlier, or excuse me, on iOS earlier, it's settings, iCloud storage and backup, and then you can make sure your iCloud backup is turned on if that is something you want, and then tap backup now, and it will sync up all your data, making sure everything is in agreement. After you're finished, manage your storage, select your device, and then you can make sure the backup you made was done, and then you can close out. All right, Android. I am not an Android person. I have never owned an Android device. And it's not because I have anything against Android, it's just because I've been getting good deals on other stuff. So for this particular one, I'm going to throw Avery under the bus and let him lead the way on Android synchronization. I'll stop sharing so he can lead the conversation because he does this on a regular basis.
All right. And I will share. All right, can everyone see my screen and hear me clearly? Got some thumbs up, awesome. All right, so Android synchronization. Android-based mobile devices don't have a central desktop application similar to iTunes for Apple. Rather, they sync over internet, but only some of the data syncs. So we can sync our contacts, calendars, and email through Gmail, and the only data that sync by default. So that's what will automatically sync if you don't change it. For every other type of data or media, Android devices are will treat it like a thumb drive. So third-party apps like Double Twist and Dashline act like iTunes for Apple. I have a Google phone, so everything I have syncs to my Google Drive. And I think a lot of Android devices will also do that for you. Teacher play. And we got a fun video for you.
First, we'll show you how to back up an iPhone, and then we'll show you how to back up an Android
Can
phone.
you guys hear the volume?
Let's get started. On the home screen, tap Settings. Tap your Apple ID at the top of the list. If prompted, sign in with your Apple ID. Tap iCloud, then tap the little slider next to the desired apps you want backed up. Tap the iCloud Backup app at the bottom of the list. Turn on iCloud Backup if it's disabled. Tap Backup Now and wait for the backup to complete. Next up, we're going to show you how to back up your Android phone. Just get into your settings menu, and once you're in the settings menu, you can tap the search bar or search button and type Backup. That gets you to the Google Backup section.
All right. So why did the technician mention to use the search option versus just going to settings and selecting backup, or going to setting and selecting Google? All right. Makes it easier.
Faster search, yeah, it makes it easier to find.
Easier to get to, easier to find. Takes you directly to it. Faster search. Alan says no answer. Easy navigation, easy to find. Yep. Good, good, good.
You should see a toggle button next to Backup to Google Drive, and just below that, the Google account that your info is being backed up to. Make sure the toggle is on, which is to the right. After turning the backup on, go ahead and tap Backup Now. Then just wait for it to complete. And there you go.
All right. For Android, could you use a different backup? All right. So yes, you can use different backup method. You can use third-party apps to back up your device as well. All right. Windows Phone synchronization. Windows phones use Windows Phone app after Windows 8 to sync their content. Windows 7 requires a third-party app like Zune. I don't know if any of you had the, what was it called, the Zune, Kelly? Their version of the
Yeah.
iPod.
Yeah, Zoom.
Mhm.
That's what they gave Star-Lord.
I had one friend that had a Zune and he was obsessed with it. Everyone else had Apple product. All right. Windows Cloud Service is called OneDrive, in case you did not know. All right. Synchronization issues and pitfalls. Yes, Umberto.
Yes, here it looks like we are using sync or backup as if they were the same thing. Are they?
Syncing and backing up.
Hmm.
Yes, Kelly, is there like a
I mean,
difference in
there's a little
terminology?
bit of nuance to it where a backup would be like a full backup of everything on the phone that you would store versus synchronization, which is just, you know, making sure all documents, music, and all that stuff is in alignment. Because like a backup would be something like if something happened to your phone, it would allow full restore. So that would be a different file than the actual synchronization. But you backing up the phone is part of the process of syncing, especially when you are in a wired setup.
Yeah. Good question, Umberto. All right, so synchronization issues and pitfalls. Incomplete sync. The most common synchronization issue is an incomplete sync of data due to connectivity issues, device issues, or even remote infrastructure issues. Sometimes synchronization issues can cause an incomplete download of email or even duplicate email. So our solution to that, most likely culprit, is connectivity issues with Wi-Fi or cellular connections. The problem is usually resolved by moving the device to an area with stronger signal. So if you don't have a strong connection to your Wi-Fi or a good cellular connection, it's a good idea to just move to an area where you have that stronger connection. So some other problems you might face: authentication issues, so forgetting password or username, operation system version issues, so older operating system or apps might not work as well with newer versions, so you might have issues with that. Incorrect configuration things, and different providers of the same service could conflict when synchronizing. Any questions? All right. Optional updated slide. Synchronization methods. So mobile devices can synchronize data through three different ways. Like we said about a direct connection through our cables, iOS uses their 30-pin or 8-pin Lightning. Android USB or micro B or USB-C with newer devices. You can use Wi-Fi to sync, and you can also sync data such as your contact and music through Bluetooth. So you can connect to your car, that will sync up your contacts and your music, so you can answer phone calls, make phone calls, or listen to your music all from your car without having to use your phone. Or at least directly use your phone, I should say. All right. Our objectives revisited. We should be able to describe the purpose and value of synchronizing data between mobile devices and desktops or laptops. You should be able to identify the types of data that could be synchronized and the two main synchronization methods used. Also, the third one, Bluetooth, for the updated version. Describe the connection types available to enable synchronization. Name the steps to synchronizing data between mobile devices, laptops, and desktops. And identify common pitfalls when synchronizing data between mobile devices, laptops, and desktops. Any questions, concerns, comments? All righty.